Sorry, my second monitor is not working, so now I'm just doing this on one screen, and I'm one of those people, unfortunately, with like 1,000 tabs open. So,
You're all good. Take your time,
let
Lydia.
me.
And welcome everybody. We're glad to have you here. Um, we'll get started in a moment. I will just say that we're going to run through slides first to kind of give the overview for folks to understand a little bit more about the center, and then we'll take down the slides and get to know each other a little bit and have the opportunity to answer questions and those kind of things. So that's what we're working with today. Um, why don't we jump right in? I want to be respectful of people's times, but today we are doing our introduction to Johns Hopkins Source. Some of you are new partners that are joining us, and some of you are staff at organizations that have been partners, but you want to either learn more about our center or we're new to you. And so we're always really glad to welcome people and introduce you a bit more to the programs, services, and the people with our center. So Lydia, you can hit the next slide. I know there's okay. Something's wonky with how the screen is looking, but we'll make it work, y'all. So what we're going to cover today, we are going to talk a little bit about what our center is and approach to our work. We're going to introduce you to a few of our team members that are here, others that I'll mention that aren't able to be with us right at this moment today. We have a lovely source network that we'll talk a little bit more about. We'll breeze through. We are going to do this fast, y'all. The different services and opportunities that are available to you as community partners. We're going to talk a bit more about communications that come from our center to kind of keep you in the loop, as well as your source liaison, because every one of your organizations has a designated source liaison. And then, as I mentioned, we'll do a little bit of networking and answering questions as well. So next slide, we are going to,
Can you see the slides now?
we can see them. Yeah, but there we
Okay.
go. They're just looking a little funky, but probably technology. All good, y'all. So, Source, we are the Community Engagement and Service Learning Center here at Johns Hopkins University for our health professional schools. That means that we serve the schools of public health, nursing, and medicine, which all sit side by side next to each other on our East Baltimore campus, right across the street from the Johns Hopkins Hospital. And we partner with over 100 Baltimore based, community based organizations, and we work to form mutually beneficial partnerships that promote health and social justice. And the way that we do our work is guided by a number of different values and principles and social justice commitments. We'll introduce you to some of them, but everything that we do is focused on reciprocity. We want everything to be a win-win when we're partnering with our organizations. We focus on justice, service, and collaboration. So there's nothing that Source does that is not with other community organizations, students, faculty, and staff. We'll also end up dropping some links in here throughout the session and can follow up with you afterwards as well, because a lot of the information is available on our website, which is just source.jhu.edu. Next slide, please. So our team, a couple of our team members are here today. So pictured, if I start from the back left-hand side, and Ashley's with us. Ashley, you want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Ashley Good, and I am the Senior Administrative Coordinator here with Source. A lot of you all have probably heard from me behind the scenes, managing your partnership applications, sending out email reminders, and scheduling interviews and site visits. It's so great to be here with you today and to see some of your faces.
Awesome. So the next two people, Tyler Dareth is our associate director, and then Izet Shahade is our communications specialist. Again, critical members of our team. They weren't able to be with us right at this time. But Tyler helps to run our Service Learning Academy, teaches courses, and supports faculty and community organizations. And then Izat, he's our communications person, so he does our website and our Source Weekly Service Scoop and all kinds of our materials that are going out, all kinds of documents and reports, etc. Lydia, let me have you introduce yourself next.
Yeah, hello. My name is Lydia Hickey, pronouns she, her, hers. I'm Assistant Director of Source. Been here for about a year and a half. I support a couple of programs, the Source Service Scholars, Community Outreach Program, work with a lot of student organizations and more. So if I haven't met you yet, thanks for being here.
Awesome. Next person is me. I'm Mindy Levin, pronoun she, her, hers. I'm the founder and director of Source. We have just entered our 21st year of Source being a center. And so I've been here since the beginning. And again, supporting a lot of different programs and activities and do a lot of teaching and training as well. Janae Johnson's our next person, our assistant director.
My name is Janae Johnson, pronoun she, her. I serve as the Assistant Director for Academic Service Learning here at Source. I partner with Lydia for the Source Service Scholars Program, as well as Mindy and Tyler for the Service Learning Academy and our social justice and reflection efforts. But welcome, everyone, and happy to meet you.
Thanks, Janae. And then last but certainly not least, Thomasina.
Morning, all. My name is Tom Messina. I am the program manager with Source. I primarily lead the HEAT core activities that we do, as well as the HIV testing and counseling program. And I lead the Baltimore Action Project along with Mindy. And I work, with individually students as well as community partners to understand their needs as well and ways that we can support them. So happy to be here and talk to you guys today.
Awesome. So that's our full-time team. We also have other folks that are part of our part-time team. So some of you might know Glenn Ross, who's a longtime community resident and community leader. Glenn has served as our community consultant since we started Source. So he does a lot of activities with us. And then each year we hire probably around 8 to 10 graduate students to serve as student program assistants. So there's a lot of times that you'll be working with different student program assistants that are in collaboration with different team members. So they really help to expand the work that we do. The other two groups that I wanted to briefly mention is that we have a governing board, and that governing board for Source has deans from each of our 3 schools, as well as faculty, staff, and students from each of our 3 schools that really help the direction of our center, help to carry out our work. Our students often end up being extensions of our team and really do a lot of promotion and being brand ambassadors of the work that we're doing. They lead reflection sessions. So we've got some fantastic people on our governing board. And then we also have a Source Community Council. And we mentioned that we partner with over 100 nonprofits here in Baltimore City. The Community Council basically has about probably 12 to 15 representatives from our network of organizations. Council members help to be opportunities for us to, again, brainstorm, advance our work. We pilot a lot of opportunities with the Community Council. These are representatives that apply to be active with us, and they serve with us on 3-year terms. They are also paid for their involvement with our meetings. I see Sam Walker is here on the call, and Sam has been one of those folks on our Community Council as a longtime partner as well. So these are other opportunities that we'll talk about, but these are a lot of the people that help continue the work that we do here at Source. Next slide, Lydia. Okay, so I mentioned that the work that we do is guided by our values as well as some guiding principles for community engagement. And there is a network of probably about 20 different centers, offices, programs across all of Johns Hopkins. It's a very complicated, decentralized institution, and we get that. And so this network of all these different community engagement groups, along with our community partners, several years back at this point, we decided that we wanted to have a set of guiding principles for how we do community engagement here in Baltimore. And we really felt this is important to have authentic partnerships that are really committed to responding to the needs that your organizations have identified. We want to be your partner in the work. And so I won't walk through all of these in detail. You can read here on the screen, and we can also provide the links to learn a little bit more about what we mean. But it's very important that we have shared vision and values. So when we are working together, we want to understand what the vision is, the purpose of your work, and design that together anytime we're doing collaborations and projects, etc. Mutuality and respect is another element that's critically important to us from everything that we do. All of our policies, all the ways that we are working with our partners, we are here to develop relationships. We want to develop that trust. We want to be here and co-designing these opportunities along with our partners. Because of that, transparency and communication, again, very important. So when we're having our communication, we also want to understand, like, what are your preferred methods? How can we show up to be supportive with you? And we really try to set those guidelines so we can hold each other accountable to continue to work through our projects together. Next slide, please. The other two guiding principles for community engagement is about shared decision making. So again, you'll see a lot of this reflected in the ways that we show up and do our work, is always trying to understand, like, how we're going to make decisions together. What's that process going to be? These are all incredibly important for us. And then when we have our community partners, we're really committed to be your community partners. So that means that there's going to be times where things are rough or you have some kind of challenge or barrier, and maybe it's from your end, maybe it's from our end, but we want to work through that together and really be, again, committed to the partnership and figure out ways that we can continue to improve and strengthen the work that we're doing in partnership. And we'll have more details about this on our website about what this looks like and how we've really talked through these principles together with our partners when we're embarking on new opportunities. So next slide, please. The other things that we want to mention about Source, again, we're going to just scratch the surface on a few things here, is that our Source network is a great opportunity for all kinds of connections that we can make. As I mentioned, we are physically on the East Baltimore campus, the Schools of Public Health, Nursing, and Medicine. What's important to understand is that we work with graduate students. So we don't work with undergrads at all who are on the undergraduate Homewood campus, a couple miles away from us. So all of our students are working on their master's or their doctoral degrees. So a lot of our community engagement and partnership opportunities are using a higher level skill set because that's what we're getting with our graduate students. And of course, that also means that we're working with our faculty, staff, and alums. And then, as I mentioned, we have a fantastic network of community-based organizations, over 100 organizations, all in Baltimore City. We're very intentional about that. So there have been many times that when we're doing networking and ways to connect, that we are connecting community-based organizations with one another to help build your networks and know about other resources and people out there in the community. And while we are on the East Baltimore campus and we are funded to serve those three schools, public health, nursing, and medicine, we certainly do have connections with others across Hopkins. So it is not where we sit and do the work all the time, but there are times that somebody will talk to us about an opportunity that sounds more in line with another one of the Hopkins divisions or with the health system. And so sometimes we're able to use our networks to connect you to other people that might have better subject matter expertise based on an opportunity that you've identified. So again, we're focused in East Baltimore and with our community partners, but we certainly have other folks that we might be able to connect you with as well. Next slide, please. Okay, I mentioned the 100 community-based organizations. I think this is really important to understand, is that all of our community-based organizations that we partner with are very different one from the next. We have some organizations that are super small, grassroots, maybe only one full-time team member, all the way to like the Baltimore City Health Department, which has the different divisions and bureaus and, just a larger organization. And it doesn't matter to us how the organizations are made up. They're all able to participate alongside of us, and we are equally happy to work with any and all of you. You can learn about the different organizations that we have. They are listed on our website. We have an online directory, and you can look through all of the organizations, or you can actually put in the categories. So there's different categories based on the populations that people serve or the health topics that people focus on. And the other great thing about our online directory is that we also have an interactive partner map that will show where organizations are located. And a lot of our community partners have had a short video that explains a little bit more about the organizations. And we've got a lot of feedback, very positive feedback from our students, faculty, and staff. So lots of organizations that we connect with. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm going to share briefly about services and opportunities. And I think after that, I'll talk about some of these opportunities that are paid, and then I'm going to turn it over to Lydia. But the way that we think about services and opportunities is that we do one-time, short-term, and ongoing things. A lot of the focus of our work is really integrated into academics. Again, grad students, they are very busy. They have complicated schedules that they don't always have a ton of control over. So when we are able to build this into academics and opportunities that are for credit, it's really been successful. So we'll talk a little bit more about these one-time projects and days of service. We also have a program that's called our Connection Community Consultants, which Lydia will share a little bit more with you about on these short-term projects that are meant to be. They're very intentionally short-term. A lot of what we do is work with our organizations to understand needs and opportunities for you to host a student, a grad student, to be an intern with you, or to work on a practicum or a field placement. I'm connecting them all together because they all sound pretty similar, but have a little bit of different hourly requirement or kind of like logistically how they're set up. I'll mention federal work study in a moment and some other paid opportunities. And again, ever since COVID, we have had the opportunity for students to work with you fully in person. They could work with you hybrid, where they're sometimes coming to your organization and sometimes working remote. And we even have some organizations and students that work fully remote. And really, that's where we're trying to understand your opportunities and needs. And some of your organizations are working a hybrid schedule as well, so students can chime in that way. We do have academic service learning courses. Again, Lydia's going to share a little bit more about those opportunities. So this is a little precursor, if you would. And then there's a lot that we do to support our student groups as well. So next slide, we'll start to give a little bit of details here. We at Source have a few types of opportunities that get our students involved with your organizations where the students are earning money. And I think that's something that's been a really important factor, particularly if a student is committed to working with your organization long term. And when they're working with you long term and they're going to a school that costs money, they're oftentimes looking for some type of stipend or a wage to be able to do so. So first I'll mention the Federal Work Study Program. The Federal Work Studies program for our grad students often means that our students are working probably anywhere from 4 to 10 hours per week. While they are eligible to work more than that, I think it's like up to 19 hours. The reality is that our students' schedules don't really give them that much time to be working that long. We at Source, we have a couple of work study students that work with us, and they tend to work about 8 hours a week. So 8 to 10 hours a week is kind of the norm. The salary also ranges. We typically are paying around $20, $21 per hour. We've seen some folks pay a little bit more. And really, the great thing about this is that the government is paying 75% of the student's salary. Your organization does pay the remaining 25%. So I gave you that example that at Source, we have a couple of work study students that we fund. And if they're earning $20 per hour, we're only paying $5 per hour for the students to be working with us. So oftentimes we'll have students that are working about 8 hours per week throughout an academic year, and it costs us about $2,000 to have a very committed long-term student working with us. So it's something that some organizations are able to do, but it's another great way of having a very skilled and committed student working alongside. I'll next mention the Community Outreach Program. This is a program that Lydia and I lead together. This is a program just for our nursing students. Now, these are master's entry nursing students. They are not RNs, and they're only working 4 hours per week. Most of them are doing that on a half day, but sometimes they might do 2 hours here and 2 hours there. The great thing about the community outreach program is that all of those nursing students that are working, they actually have to have, it's a requirement of the program, some type of direct contact with your clients or the population that you are meant to serve. So this is not like an administrative thing, although administrative tasks can be a part of that. Oftentimes what this means is they're doing some type of education or outreach or some type of case management. It's everything except it is non-clinical. Again, none of the programs that we coordinate through Source are clinical. So we are not sending out our students to do any kind of vaccine clinics or that type of health things because they are still students and they are not yet licensed. And there are a couple of programs at our School of Medicine and at our School of Nursing that do clinicals, but there's a lot more that's involved with like MOUs and all that kind of good stuff. We've helped make some of those connections over the years, but by and large, Source is not a clinical program. I'll keep going around the circle. I'm going to mention the Baltimore Action Projects next. This is a program that Thomasina and I coordinate together. And Baltimore Action Projects, this is a partnership that we have with the Bloomberg American Health Initiative. Bloomberg Philanthropies, former Mayor Bloomberg, Mike Bloomberg from New York City, his philanthropy years ago gave a tremendous gift to the Bloomberg School of Public Health. See that Bloomberg connection, to tackle these 5 critical public health issues across the country. So across the country, they're looking at addiction and overdose, adolescent health, environmental challenges, food systems for health, and violence. So these are 5 critical public health issues that the school is working across the country. And when that got announced, I went to the leaders of the Bloomberg American Health Initiative and said, that's fabulous. I love that you're doing this work across the country, but we're in Baltimore and we've got a lot of our community partners in our network that are focused on these issues. So each year, I think this year, maybe we're on, Thomasina, what are we on, like year 9 or 10 of the Baltimore Action Project, somewhere around that. We put out a call in the summertime to all of our organizations, all of our partner nonprofits to say, do you have a project that you could utilize a student to work with you for the academic year that focuses on any of these 5 public health topics? And so you have the opportunity to submit a proposal. We will then recruit a student and you help to interview and select your final student. The student gets a stipend to do the work, and then your organization gets $500 for project support, however you want to use it. It's literally no strings attached. Here's the money, go do the work. And then Thomasina and I are working with your student throughout the academic year. And then the last paid opportunity that I'll mention is our Source Service Scholars Program. This is the program that Janae and Lydia co-lead. And again, we are recruiting grad students to serve as project managers with your organizations. They are receiving a stipend for the work that they're doing. They're working about 125 to 150 hours in an academic year with your organization. But one of the requirements for that student is that they're required to recruit at least 4 other Hopkins students to volunteer on that project. We will be announcing the calls for proposals in early spring, so coming up pretty soon in the near future. And Janae and Lydia will always have information sessions and opportunities for you to learn more about our Source Service Scholar programs. But these are all opportunities for our students to be paid and be committed to work with you long term. We have that extra incentive and a lot of infrastructure and support we're working with our students. All right, you've heard enough from me. I'm going to turn it over to Lydia to talk a little bit more about some of our other events and programs.
Awesome. Thanks, Mindy. Also want to mention as I'm diving in, I've gotten a few messages that there's something wonky going on with the screen. So I just want to apologize in advance about that. Just having a few technical issues today, but that's the reason why you all registered, because then I can send you the recording, the slides, and I'll also send out links that were discussed. So there will definitely be follow-up on this. So with that, let's dive into discussing some more Source events and programs, starting out with Baltimore Week and Baltimore Context. This is something that we launch every October. Kind of usually a week, maybe sometimes spanning over 2.5 weeks. This is really our opportunity to introduce Hopkins students to Baltimore with that social justice context lens. So we often do a donation drive. We do some mobile community classrooms where students work with our community consultant, Glenn Ross, to actually go throughout East Baltimore and Baltimore City to learn more about some of the historical context in Baltimore. And during this time, we also do partnered programs with our community-based organizations. In the past, we did a documentary screening with Healthcare for the Homeless as example. There's been a lot of other really fantastic social justice programming that Janae has worked on in the last year since she's been with us. So as the fall approaches, if you have any programming or events that you want to highlight, particularly in October, let us know because we can definitely partner on some of those events and get the word out and support with that work. Other things that we do, introductions to community-based organizations, partner panels. We often schedule, maybe I'll say like 2 or 3 of those throughout the years. Things like introducing students to, service work and how to partner with organizations, learning more about the work that our community organizations are doing. We have our community involvement fair. Hopefully you'll be able to join us. It's a pretty massive event every September. I think last year we had 25 organizations join us, and maybe like 300 to 400 students. So it's a pretty massive event where you get to table work with students, let them know more about your work, and sign up students to be involved in your work too. And we have a luncheon that day as well, and I've gotten a lot of feedback that organizations found that as a really helpful opportunity to network with other CBOs here in Baltimore. And then days of service, I coordinate several of those throughout the years. It is really accessible for students as an entry point into this work, where I coordinate with organizations, maybe anywhere from like 2 to 5 hours of a project. We coordinate the transportation, bring them to your organization. You can do an introduction to your work, and then, students leave at the end of the day. So that's a really good kind of access point for students who are new to this. National Volunteer Week is coming up in April. Again, kind of similar, a counterpoint like halfway across the year to the Baltimore Week, where we do a lot of highlighting of organizational work. So if you are doing any programming or events, let us know. We'd love to support that. We also do awards for our community partners to acknowledge your work, and our students, faculty, staff here at Hopkins to acknowledge all of the fantastic work and projects that folks have done over the previous academic year. Our Languages Volunteers program. So I want to be upfront, this is non-clinical translation, but if you have needs in your program for translation services, maybe things like flyers or marketing materials that you want translated into another language, or I've heard from an organization, hey, we're doing an event and it just might be really helpful to have someone volunteering with us who speaks XYZ language. So if you have any of those needs upcoming for your organization, reach out to Source. We have a database of student staff that speak and are fluent in and write in other languages. And then we'll kind of do some outreach for you to do some matchmaking, and see if we can kind of like make that match happen. The Source Service Learning Academy, I'm actually going to get a little bit more into this on a future slide, but this is an opportunity that's open right now, and applications are ongoing and close March 1st. This is for faculty at Hopkins, but also other universities as well, and community leaders to really focus on the service learning component of the work that you're doing and kind of ingraining that into your work. And then finally, Source Community Council. Mindy also discussed this as well, but applications are opening in the spring, and that's another opportunity where it's paid for our community leaders who are on our community council for the meetings that you're attending and the work that you're doing, but we really want your voices to guide our work. Connection Community Consultants Program, Mindy mentioned this earlier. This is one of our shorter term opportunities that I want to highlight. It's small teams and short-term projects. So this, one of the things I sometimes hear from new partners is, maybe some hesitancy about signing up for a full academic year-long project right out the gate, or not knowing if they have a project that lasts a full academic year round. So this is a really good access point for you as well for short-term projects where we engage a small team of graduate level students, anywhere, I usually say like 2 to 3 students, maybe 2 to 5 students maximum. Short-term projects, I want to say, is it between 5 to 8 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks typically. But these are things like strategic consulting, fundraising strategy, and grants. So if you need like preparation for grants, things like that, they won't apply for the grant for you, but they can help you with that preparation or searching for grants that match your needs, performance measurements, communications consulting, things like that. And we do 2 rounds of this per year. So we actually just last week closed the spring round, but we do have another round coming up in the fall. So, want to shift here to talk a little bit about service learning since we've obviously been dropping that word, that phrase quite a bit, and this is really ingrained into the work that we do. So, just a quick refresher on what service learning is. It's a structured learning experience. We're combining community service with preparation and reflection. So, this is different from kind of a traditional volunteer experience where someone might show up, do some work for an hour or two, and leave without any of the context of the history of Baltimore, why you're doing the work that you're doing. So that's the differentiation between service learning and kind of straight volunteerism. So we want to do the service learning in response to community identified concerns. So that's why we always do like calls for proposals. We want to, instead of prescribing what projects you should do, we want you to tell us what you need, and we're always happy to brainstorm with you. We'll get more into that kind of partnership with your liaison in a moment, but we want the community identified concern to come first. So shifting from internships and volunteerism to the service learning approach. So some of the key components that are different are the critical conversations that are happening where we're again looking at that context of Baltimore, but also your organization and what those needs are of your clients. We're focusing on having students as your colleagues. So, an intern might be filing paperwork, going and running and getting coffee. These are graduate level students, so they can work at a much higher, more complex level. So we want you to be co-creating together. And then again, discussing root causes for the work that we're engaging in, structural racism in a local context. So a couple more service learning opportunities. So the Service Learning Academy, this was mentioned before, but I want to dive into it a little bit more. So this is for faculty and community leader. You're designing courses and community projects. So that's where it's faculty and community leader. So for community leaders in the room, you'd be designing community projects that center justice-based pedagogy and those service learning opportunities, building partnerships here in Baltimore. We do actually have a community partner info session coming up on Thursday, February 12th, excuse me. So when I send this follow-up information with the recording, slides, links, etc., I'll make sure to link that too, as well as the application. And then if you have questions, you can always contact our Source Associate Director, Tyler Dareth. Let's dive into some of the service learning course examples. We have between 10 to 20 service learning courses that are offered every year. And this, I think, is really fantastic because students are engaging in an academic course that's led by faculty, Mindy, Tyler, being the experts in this work. And then alongside having that guidance from faculty, they're engaging with you kind of on the ground. So I'm looking at the time and I'm going to fly through this a little bit and then kind of highlight one of the ones that's upcoming because we are reserving some time for Q&A and I've been told to keep the pace up. But we do have a couple. The Baltimore Community Practicum course is our flagship course, community-based practice through civic engagement, formulating policy, qualitative research course series. That's a longer engagement series. And then one that's coming up right now that we really want to highlight is applications and program monitoring and evaluation. So if there's any type of like deeper program monitoring evaluation that you feel like your community-based organization could benefit from, or are not really sure and want to talk it over, reach out to Source, reach out to your liaison, and we'll be able to kind of do some more matchmaking and see if that is a match for you. We can also help you with that application, that proposal that's due upcoming on Tuesday, February 3rd. Some technology options for keeping you engaged. We do have Hopkins Engage. This is our online presence with students. It's the university's communication community engagement platform. So this is a really great way for you to post and advertise events, internships, one-time ongoing volunteer opportunities. You can post shifts and have people sign up for them. And our amazing senior administrative coordinator, Ashley Good, she actually hosts Hopkins Engage office hours weekly on Mondays and Fridays. So it's really tailored support for what you need and are interested in doing to get the word out and get that engagement. So I definitely recommend that you sign up for those office hours if you're interested in learning more. I also want to talk about our interactive community partner map. Mindy did mention this earlier. This is an online feature. We have maps of organizations and short introductory videos where you can introduce your organization to students, staff, faculty. Some other important source communications. So source emails, are they for me? Why should I read them? Yes, they're for you. And if you want more people from your organization to have eyes on our communication, just send over those emails to us at source at jhu.edu, and we can add as many people as you want from your organization to our weekly emails. But early in the week, there's a community partner newsletter that goes out that will keep you up to date on all of the upcoming calls for proposals, opportunities, information from community partners, all sorts of things that you definitely want to stay up to date on. We also have something called the Source Weekly Service Scoop. This is really oriented to Johns Hopkins engagement. So this goes out to student, staff, faculty, within the 3 health professional schools. And I think at this point we have over 1,000 subscribers, something like that. So it really does have far reach. We also do really focus on calls for support from our community partners. So we'll definitely post if there's a job or internship opening, or if there's upcoming volunteer opportunities or events, things like that. So if you want to be featured in that newsletter, send us word at source@jhu.edu. The deadline is Mondays at 3 p.m. so that it goes in our Tuesday newsletter. So just keep that in mind. And if you have an event, usually it's helpful for us to run it for 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time. So definitely give us advance notice. Our annual opportunities guide, I definitely recommend taking a deeper dive into this solo with your colleagues, with your liaison. Definitely go through this. This is we've been talking in this meeting about all of our opportunities. I know we all learn in different ways. Sometimes I need to see things written down. So definitely take a look at that full list of opportunities in this link here. And then every like early fall, late summer, we do have an opportunities checklist that is sent out to all of our organizations. So this is where you tell us what your organization might be interested in doing over the next academic year. If you check something off as interested, it does not force your hand or ensure that you have to do that opportunity. It really flags for our team that you're interested. So when that round of call for proposals comes up, we know to reach out to you and talk about it and say, hey, are you still interested? Do you want to brainstorm some ideas together? Because remember earlier when I was saying read those source emails, I know that sometimes things slip away from us and we don't read them every single week. So we want to be able to have a way to flag this for you on a more personal level as well, if you're interested in an opportunity. Finally, in terms of source communications, I want to mention our community partner forum on LinkedIn. It's a private LinkedIn group. This is something that came out of our community council, actually, where folks were really looking for more opportunities to talk across source partner CBOs. So it's not a requirement, but I do recommend it. It's just a space where you can post what's going on in your organization, or if you have any concerns, needs, that you want to get out to our networking, and it's for anyone in your organization. It doesn't matter, there's no limit on like 3 people per organization. Same thing as our newsletters. Anyone who's interested, you click that, you request to join, we'll get you in. Your designated source liaison. So we've mentioned this a couple of times. Let's dive into that. Mindy introduced us all to the core full-time source team. On that team, one person is assigned as your liaison for your organization. That doesn't bar you from talking to someone else on the team, but it can be really, really helpful to have a point person, because when your liaison reaches out to you, we can do these refreshers with your full organization. If folks are new, need to learn more about what the opportunities are. I think a lot of times when I work with my organizations that I'm liaison for, I'll just say, what's on your wish list? What's the thing that you wish you had time to do? And then because I know our programming so well, then I can help do a little bit more matchmaking. And that's something we really recommend. I know that the full breadth of our projects can be overwhelming as you're getting in. We have no expectations that you memorize all of our programming. That is what we are here for. So let us know your wish lists. Let us know what you're brainstorming, and we can help you make the match. There are a lot of times where, because I have organizations that are, part of the source service scholars, or part of the community outreach program, that even if they're not my liaison, I just end up building a great relationship with them. And that's fantastic. So again, you're not barred from working with anyone else on the source team. We just find that it's really helpful to have a point person. So stay connected to Source. We have a lot of social media connections. I'll make sure to send those links when we do our follow-up, because we want you to know what we're up to, but we also want to get the word out about what you're doing, and we want to see what you're up to too. We want to make sure it's a two-way street. So with that, that wraps up our slides. I'm going to stop sharing and kind of open up the floor, because we want to hear from you what questions are on your mind.
Awesome. Thanks, Lydia. Does everybody know who their source liaison is? And it's fine if you don't. We'll tell you that as well. Amanda, you're at Blue Water, Baltimore, right?
Yes, correct. Sorry, I was just going to put it in the chat. I do not know who are,
Okay. So
and I,
yours is Zat Shahade.
okay.
I'm putting his name in here. Um,
Thank you so much.
yeah. And then Sam, you're at Dunbar now. So Thomasina, who you already know, is yours. Um, Leander, you're with Black Yield Institute. So Janae Johnson is yours. Lewis, where are you at? Which organization? Same?
Black Yield as well.
Black Yield. Okay, so Janae as well. So that at least those of you on the call know who your designated source liaison is. And as Lydia mentioned, one of the things that we love to do, if it's helpful for you, is like come and talk with your organization. Like, do you have staff meetings? Do you want us to give a presentation? But we're always here to be your eyes, ears, partners, talk through opportunities. Sam is on the call. Sam has been a longtime partner previously with a different organization and has participated in a lot of our programs as well. As I mentioned, he's been on our Source Community Council. He's been a Source Service Learning Community Fellow. He's participated in Source Service Scholars, Baltimore Action. I mean, like literally, if I name him Sam, you've probably done most of them. So it's great to have another community partner that's participated in some of these programs previously as well. So we're happy to answer any questions. I know it can be a lot because, again, that opportunities guide that Lydia mentioned that lives on our website. I mean, there's probably like over 40 different ways that you can connect with us and our students. Again, the real meat of what we're doing tends to be a little bit more in that academic space, which basically means that they're using a higher level skill set to work with your organization. designing programs, evaluating programs, helping with outreach, helping with developing logic models, helping to put to lit reviews. Yes, we certainly do some direct service provision, but a lot of the things that our students are doing is much more, I would say, project oriented. And what I mean by that is like it has a beginning and a goal that they're trying to achieve. So it's not just like come every Tuesday and do this. It's more about like, okay, let me be a part of your team and help your organization, develop that thing or strengthen that thing or what have you. And as Lydia mentioned as well, we do different types of one-time opportunities. A lot of student groups or departments or offices are like, oh, can we do it? We want to do a service project. We want to do something as part of our like staff professional development together. So we do arrange those kind of things as well. And it's just trying to figure out like what is your opportunity, what are your various needs. And I recognize when you're a new partner with us, you might want to start small, like let me type this opportunity, and then you're like, okay, that was great. And then like some of our partners that have been with us for a long time, as I was giving the example of Sam, and a bunch of others that if they've been around, like they've literally done everything and start to recognize the difference between all of these different things. So any particular questions that we can answer as you consider your engagement and opportunities to connect?
Yes, I had two questions. So, what's good again, y'all? My name is Louis Phillips III, Marketplace Organizer of Engagement at Black Hill Institute with Lee Jordan. And so, first question, can y'all give me some examples of Baltimore action projects? I was trying to put it in my brain how it was different from the other one.
Absolutely, can give you some examples of some action Baltimore action projects. This year specifically, we have worked with some organizations, and last year as well. It's a wide variety of projects, but mostly they focus on either environmental or maternal health or some kind of specific area of focus. But there are things like food systems and things like, as well, that projects are allowed to focus on. What they really ask for is it's about 100 hours of service that the person provides to you, the volunteer provides to you, and they're usually like some kind of deliverable at the end, like Mindy mentioned at the end. So one of the ones that's happening this year is with the healthcare for the homeless. And there's a wide variety of stuff that she's doing. But right now, I believe she's doing like a survey to capture data about whether or not the people who are getting services feel like they're represented and provided with the appropriate amount of support. So those kind of projects, developing like standard operating procedures as well. So like if there's like a process that you think isn't really effective and you want like your employees or other volunteers to kind of follow it, there's that opportunity for a student to develop that and like guidance manuals, things of that as well. It depends on the student's skill set, and it also depends on what you're working for. But if you are interested in putting together a project, I will be reaching out to our different organizations and we could talk through ideas. So here to help.
Sweet. Thank you very much for that. Gave me some clarity, so appreciate it. And second question, was curious. So, is there any re-verification project for CBOs after a couple of years, or once you're on the group, you're with the group?
Yeah, no like re-verification, re-entry. I think for some of our super long-term partners, their level of engagement might flow and change kind of over the years depending on what's happening with them organizationally. So we've even had, some organizations that go like a little radio silent for a year just because of what's happening organizationally. And then when we're able to reconnect with them on the source side, they're back in the door and back, engaging in projects again. So there's no like re-verification every year or 2 years or whatever. We really want this to match what you need. So your level of engagement is up to you, and we hope that you take advantage of, and we can help do some matchmaking to projects that really are impactful in your work.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I'll just add to that, Lewis. When organizations apply to become partners, part of what they're seeing is that we have a set of mutual expectations. Like, this is what you should expect from Source. This is what we expect from our partners. We even tell like what we expect from our students that are engaged. So our team, we twice a year during our team advances, we talk through all of our organizations just to figure out like how's that organization doing? Are they involved? Because sometimes as Lydia was saying, it can ebb and flow, particularly like if an organization has staff turnover. We try to have relationships with more than one person at an organization so that it's not like, oh, that person left. Now we got to wait for them to hire somebody new, or like maybe there's not funding for somebody new. So we love to have contacts with multiple people at the organization. But the radio silence part, like I don't want to say, look, you get to be radio silence for 5 years and we never hear from you. Like we don't want an organization that is completely non-responsive. Like you might tell us this is what's going on, so we understand that at the moment. But we also have like our online directory. Sometimes students will just peruse that online directory and be like, "Wow, your mission really resonates with me," and they'll reach out to you directly. And depending on what you have going on, you may or may not have an opportunity, or you might ask like, "Oh, did you come from Source?" I'm sure you get lots of inquiries from different colleges and universities in the area. So we just don't want organizations that are just like never going to respond to us. So, we want to be there. We want you to think of us as a go-to resource, but also if we haven't heard from you in a while, your liaison is likely to be like, hey, haven't heard from you a bit. Everything okay? How can I help? What can I check in with? So, we really do want to keep those lines of communication open.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. What else? Any other questions? Anything that we can clarify further?
I have one more question. This one's for Sam, if you don't mind. I was really interested because people kept saying you've been with the program since its inception. So, like, can you just talk about how you got with it and how you contribute?
I'm not going to say this is an exception. I will say I've taken advantage of Source's programming. The former position I held with Merit Health Leadership Academy, worked with, I was director of operations there. And so we worked pretty extensively with Source in helping us through getting uh, just helping us work with very, very qualified people, helping us with processes that we needed to make to number one, to invent, to develop, and to make it even more impactful for our students. And now with Dunbar, we're looking to even ramp up that even more with our students there as far as internship opportunities, but also looking at our principal who's out on medical leave, but we're in constant discussions about different processes that we can use. Source and graduate students to just come in with a different eye. We believe in urban education that you have to have people that come in and look at things from a different point of view, and so from helping us in the CCR suite with college essays to helping our students think outside the box what they want to do, but also in the realm of, I mean, at Paul Laurence Dunbar High School, we are most of our students come there because they want to be in the medical field. So it really helps to have a place like Johns Hopkins where they can bounce different ideas on and get different trajectories of where they can be as health professionals, right there in their lab. And then this is a lot of different things that they can provide students that come in and just look at our processes in a different light and give us different ideas of how to run things. So that's where that. So I'm the if anything, I'm the poster child of taking advantage of opportunities. So that's me. It's Source for us at Merit provided resources that we did not have to pay for. I mean, point blank, it was resources that, what, tremendous resources that gave us a leverage that we leveraged that did not cost us a dime. So from where you sit as a CBO, a nonprofit, it's a great thing because as a person who has been in the business world since forever, that's what you're looking for. Something that's going to benefit you, but it doesn't affect the bottom line. So yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome, baby.
Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's an opportunity to connect with people that are going to give their time, their talent, their passion, and their commitment to work alongside of you. And that's an important distinction too, is working alongside of you, because part of our approach to our work is that when we have students that are in these service learning courses or in our programs like Baltimore Action Projects or Service Scholars Community Outreach Program, we do a lot of onboarding and helping to introduce students. A lot of them are not from Baltimore. So some of us on our team, like myself, born and raised in Baltimore, others have been in Baltimore a super long time. But a lot of our students are coming from all over the world or other parts of the country, or maybe they've not been in Baltimore. And of course, we do have some Baltimore people too. I love our Baltimore peeps. But it's an educational piece for them as well. They're learning and exploring alongside of you. So it's not just like, oh, here's my student, go do this thing and come report back. It's more of like, okay, let me introduce you to our organization. Let's talk about some of the challenges that we face, as Lydia mentioned, we like to talk to about these root causes, like what is happening with the populations that you serve, because we also want them to think about like the future, like they're going to be future doctors, nurses, and public health professionals. What are they going to take from their experience working with our organizations to advocate and bring about more positive change in our communities that's going to be beneficial to everyone? So everything comes with this justice-oriented lens as a part of their educational experience. So it's a win-win. And you are investing your time to say, like, we're taking on a student, we're working on a project, we're working with a team, but they're there to work alongside of you. And again, as Sam and others have benefited, they keep coming back for more as they've found it to be helpful. So yes, you're investing some time, but we hope that what you get in return is major benefits. That's our goal. Awesome.
And just to add to that, I mean, it's the greatest part I think about it is Johns Hopkins Public Health is the preeminent public health uh, uh, institution. So you get a global view of people. We have people, a young man from Africa who was actually a doctor and a lawyer who came and worked with us and his view of things and what he brought to our program was just tremendous and what he brought to the kids they were just blown away. And so I think what the opportunities you get, but he learned about the barriers um, of kids in Baltimore, but he also learned the similarities of how of the Baltimore versus where he's from and the barriers and things like that. So it's eye opening. Is a great way of just saying, okay, how can we use different avenues to get where we want to get or get our children where we want them to get it to. So to me, it's a no-brainer if you want to if you don't use this mechanism called source, you're cheating yourself. You're cheating your organization. So it's a no-brainer.
Thank you. Thank you again, Sam, for your kind words. And let me just ask one last question because I know we're at time and people probably have something to jump to. Does everybody get our source emails that Lydia mentioned, like towards the beginning of the week, we send out opportunities? Amanda, yes. Sam, yes. Louis, Leander, do either one of you? Yep. Okay. Just making sure. And again, if you have other people at your organizations, just send us an email at source@jhu.edu and say, add this person. We'd like to get their name, title, and email. and then we'll add them and they can get it. I mean, certainly you can forward to other people at your organization, but if if there's somebody who wants to be on the list, that's fantastic. We just ask people not forward our newsletters to other nonprofits because all of our programs are only eligible to our current partners. And again, there's over 100 of them, and there's a way for them to apply, just like you all have in the past. So thank you again for joining us. I hope this is helpful. You will definitely be hearing from your source liaisons. We're always happy to connect. So reach out literally at any time. We'll find a way to connect and see what we can do. We always love partnering with each of you. Have a good rest of your day and be safe and careful in the weather that is coming our way.
Thanks,
Take it easy.
everyone.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.